Bloomberg Audio Studios.
Podcasts, radio, news.
All right, let's stay on sports here. The spread of legal gambling has changed how millions of Americans root for their favorite teams. And the U.S. sports gambling industry has seen more than $220 billion wagered in the 5 years since the Supreme Court essentially legalized what was previously an underground market. Joining us now, I'm pleased to say we have DraftKings CEO Jason Robins. And I actually do want to ask you about Taylor Swift, but let me start with, of course, the NFL regular season. It's now underway. What visibility do you have on whether the betting handle on pro football will be more robust than what we saw last season?
Well, if Thursday night's any indicator, we're off to a fantastic start. We had big year-over-year growth and a ton of interest in the new player markets, especially the touchdown markets that we were putting out there. We had over 641 pre-match markets. Same thing again tonight. We traded over 1,300 live markets last night. So just more content, more fun stuff to bet on, and a lot of year-over-year growth.
How does it compare with what you're seeing from prior years? If Thursday was any indicator, how do you kind of project out? Especially now, we were kind of talking about it during the commercial break. Clearly, the NFL is hitting new markets. The Packers are playing in Sao Paulo tonight. What does that mean for you?
Well, I think it's fantastic that the NFL is expanding globally. I think it'll be great for interest in the sport. Obviously, we're very focused on the U.S., but I do think the more global interest in the sport is just something where rising tide lifts all ships. And really, I think it's just part of the overall trend we're seeing where more and more people around the world are getting interested in things internationally. You see the same thing in the U.S. where a lot of the betting is occurring on sports being played overseas. So I just think it's more and more of the world being globalized and people being, having more access to things. And NFL's great content, so you put it in front of people and they're going to enjoy it.
Couple of cheeseheads here on set.
2 out of 3. We'll
Sonali
take it.
is a Green Bay Packers fan. I love when
I hear.
I love, Jason, when the U.S. legalizes things that people are doing anyway, in the dark. But I wonder how concerned you are about a rise in gambling problems, people picking or taking money out of retirement accounts, charging up credit cards. I mean, we hear more and more of these stories. It's obviously an addiction for many, many people. How does DraftKings deal with that problem?
Well, I think it's a very important topic you bring up, and one of the major reasons why it does make sense to have a legal regulated market. We have tens of millions of dollars that we're investing in responsible gaming every year. We have almost 100 employees working on it on their own. 100% of their job is responsible gaming. And so, it's something that we're really putting major investment into. And we have a number of different ways that we approach it. We have tools that we give to players where they can set limits for themselves. We have models that we build that help us understand and flag risky behavior. And we have a player protection team that is trained to have targeted conversations with people when those models, set off certain flags. So I think it's a real important part of having a legal regulated market. In an unregulated market, you're going to have no protections of those sorts for consumers, and people will just sort of be left to their own devices. And I think that, in the legal regulated market, not only are those requirements, but they actually become competitive advantages because people want to play in a place that they perceive as doing the right thing by customers and doing it in the right way.
I did see some study or report or article about people actually stopping day trading or cutting back on day trading because now they're trading more on sports. So there's some replacement behavior going on as well. But I actually want to ask you about taxes because, of course, August was a very volatile month for DraftKings shares. You had announced a planned tax surcharge in those higher tax states that would help offset the cost of revenue-based gaming taxes. You ultimately withdrew that plan, but are there other plans along those lines under consideration to help mitigate the effect of those high state gaming taxes?
Well, at the moment, we're really focused on NFL season and listening to what our customers want and how we can put out the best product and do the best job we can to make our customers feel like DraftKings is the place that they want to play. It's something at some point down the line we may revisit, but right now we kind of heard the customer feedback. It was something that didn't get received in a way that we felt made sense for us to pursue. And that's what we're really all about. We, I think, as a company, really emphasize culturally listening to the customer and following the customer. And so right now with the start of NFL season, we're 1,000% focused on serving our customers and understanding how they're enjoying and what we can do better to give them the best experience possible.
I want to talk about strategy here as well, Jason, because you have agreed to buy Simple Bet, which looks to place wagers during a live sporting event. What does this mean for DraftKings? How significant is this for you?
Well, I'm very excited about Simple Bet. One, most importantly, we're getting a great team. I really have been so impressed by all the folks there, and the talent is always what makes these types of deals. But we're also getting great technology. They've built an incredible micro betting product and have a ton of other technology that can be useful for building out our live betting offering. So I think between the team and the tech stack they have, this is really going to put us in a position to accelerate our efforts in live betting and hopefully make it something where we're clearly ahead of the competitive field.
The interest of women for football, for example, obviously has soared because maybe in part Taylor Swift is dating Travis Kelce and then goes to games all the time.
I've heard that. And she, of course, was at the game last night, Jason. She was also in the NFL had a little preview of the season ahead. She appeared in that multiple times. So more women are watching the NFL. Are more women betting with DraftKings as a result?
Well, it's hard to say if it's a result. We are certainly seeing a rise in women betting on DraftKings, and of course, that's been a trend for a few years for us. So, I think there's some tailwind and just general momentum in that direction. I can't, really attribute it to Taylor, but I'm sure it can't hurt. Certainly, I know a lot of people who love her, including me, enjoy talking about it, and it gives me something to talk about with my wife. Maybe I can get her to start making a few bets too. I haven't gotten my wife to make any bets yet, but I'm working on it.
Well, to that end, about more women betting, a conversation I've been having over the last 24 hours is what media rights would mean for women's sports to take off more. I'm curious about that more largely for you too, Jason. When you see Amazon, for example, entering the sphere in this massive, massive way with the NBA, with podcast rights, how does that change the way that you interact with different platforms, the type of audiences that you grab as the media landscape changes around sports?
Well, first of all, I think the more ways that, and the more companies, media companies and tech companies that are interested in getting eyeballs on sports, that's great for the ecosystem. It starts with having the content out there so people can consume it and having partners that are really motivated to create the best, experience, the best broadcast, the best stream around that content. So really excited to see that. And, for us, I think women's sports is a huge growth opportunity. WNBA has been a great story for us. Women's college basketball has been growing like crazy. I think women's sports is going to be one of the great growth stories of the online sports betting industry for the next several years and beyond. And it's not just women betting, though. It's really everybody. Men are betting on women's sports just as much as they're betting on, the men betting on women's sports are actually greater than the women betting on women's sports just because there's more male bettors. So I think what's awesome is to see it's not just women coming onto the platform betting on women's sports. It's really everybody.
Jason, we got to leave it there. We thank you for your time, of course, at the start of a hot NFL season. That is Jason Robins, CEO of DraftKings. This is Bloomberg.